and God is working in our behalf. And so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Thank you for staying tuned in to our next half of service, the meat part. We will have our recorded music selection, as usual, excellent and outstanding. And then our speaker today will be Minister Ausar. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, than yet. The best is yet to come. Well, greetings. Happy New Year's to you all. We are over into 2022. As a spiritual scientist, I also study spiritual numerology, and 2022 breaks down to the year of 6. 6, we know, is the number of man. Now, it's also inside of the vibration of the 2 plus the 2 plus the 2, which gives us the 6, which 2 is equivalent to relationships. So this year is a year about you. This year is about you and your relationship with others, you and your relationship with self, and guess what? You and your relationship with Source, bringing everything to the one. We know with God, all things are possible. But in and of yourself, you can do some things, and for some, you can do nothing. But with Source, as our divine alignment, we can do all things. This morning, I want to kick off this month's message regarding vision. This entire month, we will be exploring vision, and hopefully by the end of this month, it'll add something to you. So if you are vision boarding, if you are preparing for the year to come, I ask that you sit back and wait at least till the end of this month before you take on the task of vision boarding or visioning for your life. Now, we need to know something. When we talk about visioning, it usually entails visualization. And we can only visualize that which we have already seen or that which we have already imagined. But there are some things that you have not seen, for the word says, eyes have not seen, neither have it entered into the heart of men. So we got to understand there's something you haven't seen that you must see, and if you desire to really be successful this year, you need to see what Source sees. You need to see what God sees. You need to see what divine intelligence sees for you, as it desires to work through you as you. So this morning, let me start. The message is entitled Danger, Double Vision. Or you can look at it as a false vision. That is a fake vision, imposter vision. Let's start by setting a foundation for the month. The word vision often is defined as a noun, but it is also defined as a verb. Let's look at the noun explanations. First thing is, vision is the faculty or the state of being able to see. So your ability to see. Secondly, to plan future with imagination and wisdom. So vision means the ability to plan your future with imagination and or just the wisdom. Thirdly, it's the supernatural apparition. To see something that no one else sees. And oftentimes when you try to explain to others what you've seen that they've not seen, they will say you may be touched or you're out of touch. And the last definition for vision before we move into this morning's message is a verb. And it just says the ability to imagine. So imagining is visioning. For many of us, wherever we go, whatever we do, we often are imagining, and it's the imagination of that thing that motivates us toward that. Example, if you have a craving, I love food. I'm an eatitarian. I eat just about anything. Because I pray over my food, because I enjoy the things that are pleasing to the palate. And so if I think I want to eat a certain thing, I imagine what it will taste like. I also imagine the whole dining experience. So as a result, I usually show up at a particular restaurant with the expectation based on what I've imagined. And usually I'm dissatisfied. That's why I make it my business. Once I find a restaurant that can deliver in that particular food item that I desire, I go there all the time. Or if I desire that food, I go to that place. Because I know not only will they be able to deliver, but it meets my expectation, and my expectation was fueled by what I have visualized, or my visualization, or my vision for the experience I was about to have. So this morning, as we move into this message, there are some things I want you to take into consideration when we talk about vision. Now, when we talk about vision, we can talk also about mission drift. Mission drift is when a company shifts away from its initial focus. So many of us have mission drift. There was something we intended to do, but we're not doing. When I was a kid, I often experienced mission drift. When Mama would go tell me, take this and go down to the corner store and purchase this. On the way to the corner store, I would run into mission drift opportunities. Halfway down the block, my other little friends are playing basketball, and the ball rolls out into the sidewalk around there. I pick it up, and I begin to engage in the game, and before I know it, I heard my name being called, my entire name. So I already knew I was in trouble. So I acted as though I had not heard her call me, and I rushed off to the store. By the time I got back from the store, she said, you had mission drift. I sent you on an assignment. But because things came into your life on the way to your destination, you got sidetracked. And how many of us get sidetracked from the vision that we have or the vision that Source has given us? Now, there's two types of vision. There's your vision, and then there's what I call divinely inspired visions. And we're going to talk about both of them, but we're going to lean heavily into the divinely inspired vision because I hope this year, as you move forward, that you're seeking the divinely inspired vision and not just your vision. And you can't mix your vision with its vision because it'll give you double vision. Anybody have experienced double vision at any point in your life? You find yourself trying to adjust your vision because you know that with singularity of vision, you can move through life a little easier. Now, there's another type of drift that we need to take in consideration when we talk about drifting away from what our vision is or our mission is, and that's nautical drift. Knowing that I was in the Navy for 8 years, and most of that time was spent in the aviation community, so I've never set foot on a ship. But they taught us in boot camp about this thing called nautical drift. So when you're out on the high seas, if you just drift 1 inch off of the set course, that ship can end up at a place it wasn't designed to be. Matter of fact, you can end up shipwrecked. How many of you all have experienced nautical drift? That you look at where you are today, and you're so far away from where you intended to be. Many of you are even shipwrecked because you've experienced nautical drift from the vision that Source has given you, and even from the vision that you may have for yourself, the vision of grandeur. 30 years later, you're nowhere near what you thought or where you thought you would be. Then the last vision drift, the drift that I want to explore, is called vision drift. That takes us into this month's message about vision. Vision drift is, first of all, moving away from what has been given to you either by your own self or by Source. And many times what that means, I'm not doing what I know I should be doing. Now, there's two types of vision you have to be aware of. There's your vision, which lines up with the word that says, many are the plans, because all of our plans are associated with what we see, what we visualize. Many are the plans of men, but the end thereof is destruction. What do we mean by destruction? Because I believe we all are born into this earth realm, and unless we decide to follow the manufacturer's manual for our lives, we experience our own vision. We come up with our own plans. There's a way that appears right to all of us, but the end of it can mean destruction. There is something you may try to abort that is an essential ingredient to you becoming what you've been designed to be. And so sometimes we have to be very careful that we are aware, deeply aware of what our vision is, and if the vision we're holding is something we've concocted, or if that vision is something that has been given to us. Now, many people have never really heard the vision for their life because they've been strongly influenced by things outside of who they are. You're influenced by your family of origin, and your family may say early on what you will be. You will take over the family business, or you'll go to school for this, that, or the other. And never really have consulted the manufacturer, but we know the word tells us in Jeremiah 29:12, the manufacturer knows the plans that it has for you to get you to an expected end. And not just get you to an expected end, but you may have a life filled with success. So to be successful, one has to be on track with the divine vision for your life. Now, the divine vision. The divine vision is that vision that is associated with your authenticity, who you are uniquely. I believe when we all choose to descend into this realm as human beings, we come with an assignment. It is important to us to be reconnected to Source at some point in our lives, that we learn what that assignment is, and we align our lives with that assignment. Give you a good example of that. Habakkuk. Many of us, I know at some point this month you're going to hear about Habakkuk again. Habakkuk is an interesting book. But when you look at Habakkuk chapter 2, something is transpiring that all of us need to start the beginning of our year with. That is, we must be on a vision quest, and not the vision quest of what we want. I know it's 9 days into this year. Many of you have already started cutting and pasting, developing your vision boards. The issue with vision boards is based on what you visualize. And what you visualize oftentimes is not really what you desire, but something that has been imposed on you by external catalysts or stimuli, such as you saw a commercial, and it had this beautiful Coach purse in it. You weren't even thinking about getting that Coach purse, but now you've been suggested, there's all the suggestions, and you go out and buy that purse, or maybe buy those shoes, or maybe that new car, or that new home. None of which is part of Source's divine design for you, but you do it. And you usually end up putting yourself in a position where you are now overly concerned about the things, the issues, the cares of this world, and guess what? It cancels out the things of God in your life. So you got to be careful that the vision you're in pursuit of isn't coming from the outside. So if the vision that I'm in pursuit of shouldn't come from the outside, where should this vision come from? Well, thanks for asking. The vision should come from the inside. That's why it's important that you start with a process that I use. It's called envisioning. E-N-V-I-S-I-O-N. Envisioning. The process of going inside and hearing from Source what the vision Source has for your life. And what's even deeper than that, once we really identify with Source, he makes this affirming statement, that I am no longer my own, but I am to be used by God. That's why we say, use me, Lord. That's why we say, thy will, not my will. And so when we say thy will, not my will, you now are saying me, myself, no longer matters. And it's usually the me, myself that gets in the way of the vision that Source has. So isn't it interesting we always say me, myself, and I? Putting the I last, and the I really represents the oneness of being with Source. I am. And so we have to cancel out the me and myself, what it is I desire, and you should be seeking what it is Source desire, what it is that I am desires for you. So how do you do that? When you look in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, we see an example of how to do that. So in Habakkuk chapter 2, and I'm reading from the New King James Version of the Bible, the book of wisdom, one of many books that we use here in Divine Science, and it states here in Habakkuk 2 and 1, I will stand my watch, set myself apart on the rampart, and watch to see what he will say to me, and I will answer when corrected. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak, and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, let me back into that. First of all, in the last part of those 3 verses, it tells you to wait. W-A-I-T. Interesting thing about the English language, we can have words that are spelled sound the same but spelled differently. So you got the W-A-I-T, and then you have the W-E-I-G-H-T, right? See, I can spell. I'm a great speller because of what happened to me in third grade. In third grade, my first day of school at the new school, it was time for the spelling bee. I didn't get the words. And because I couldn't spell the words, I got my hand smacked. From that day on, I was able to learn every word that was called for me to spell, and I, to this very day, I'm a rather excellent speller. Don't look on Facebook, don't look on social media, because sometimes you just, it's autotypes. But for the most part, I'm a great speller. Now, because words are important to me. So we see here, in the last verse, it says, though it tarry, to wait, the W-A-I-T. But too many of us buckle under the W-E-I-G-H-T of the wait. Because it appears that it's tarrying, you put your 2 cents in. You do like King Saul. He was chosen to be the king. And would have been a king for his entire lifetime. But he did not listen to what was said of him to do by the prophet. The prophet told him to go to Gilgal. Gilgal represents the place of the skull. And it's usually our own thinking that gets in the way of the vision that God has for us, the mission that we're supposed to be on. And so he gets to Gilgal, and while he's there, the prophet took a long time to come. And so he decided, because the enemy was encamped around him, that he needed to take on the duties of the priest. You got to know your role. Stay in your lane. Do what you're called to do. Exercise the area that you have the responsibility for. And because of the people, he then felt persuaded to make the sacrifice. The sacrifice that only the priest could make. At that time, men weren't kings and priests. They were either king and there was a separate priest. And so he took it upon himself because he's a king, like you're the king of your own life. He took it upon himself to make the sacrifice. Some of the things you're doing, God has not called you to do. Source is not called you to do. Some of the things you're doing are not even required of you. But you take it upon yourself to do what you think is right. Remember, there's a way that appears right, but the end is destructive. Just after he sacrifices the animal, then shows up the man of God and says, what is this? And then he goes on to explain that, well, you kind of tarried, you took a long time, so I took it upon myself. I thought this was the thing to do. He says, because you have done this thing, that which would have belonged to you for your entire lifetime shall be taken from you. And then as he turned to go away, they said the man of God, the king, saw, pulled on the garment of the priest, and it tore his garment. He says, that is exactly what's about to happen to you. You have torn the garment, torn yourself away, and as a result of that, the remainder of his life, he was like a lame duck king. And the reality was the fact that David was in his life not only to help him, but he, on so many occasions, attempted to hurt him. So that's another caveat, a little special something for all of you who have listened and tuned in. But the point I'm making this morning is that you must know that you can't buckle under the weight. So let me move you through the points I want you to walk away with this morning so you could meditate on this thing. So I got about 8 minutes left before my time expires. And so just stay with us for the next 8 minutes. So we're going to do this. So first of all, when you look at the scripture, when you look at Habakkuk chapter 2, it starts with, I will stand my watch and set myself apart. So if you want to get the divinely inspired vision for your life, you must do something. You must get still. You must listen. Not only must you listen, but you must listen to know what it is that you should do. Too many of us are listening, but we can't wait for the opportunity to talk. Sometimes you need to just shut up. Sometimes you need to be quiet. Sometimes you just have to make yourself available for the download. Now, here's another golden thread for you. If you read in the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 14, you will find that it says that when you go to sleep at night, you receive downloads, you receive instructions, and you receive corrections. So God is always speaking to us. Now, during the course of your day, you may have a situation or circumstance that you need a solution to, and what you need to do there is go into the quiet, to solitude. Go into a brief meditation. And inside that meditation, if you get quiet, now you get the quiet is you want to get to the place of what I call zero frequency. Inside of zero frequency, nothing's there, but everything is there. And as you get into zero frequency, you're not there asking, or you're not there requesting, you're not there expecting, you're not there visualizing. You're there just to hear what source is, what God is saying to you. And when you get to that place, ultimately, you're going to hear from God. And so once you hear from God, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be established with a clear vision, and you're going to be established not only with a clear vision, but you're going to be established with direction or your action steps. It says to listen, and then you want to write it down, that he who reads it and that he is you, that you can run with it. So metaphysically, run means that you can move expeditiously to the place that you're going to, expeditiously to the end that you're expecting. So not only are we to write it down, but we have to make it plain on tablets. So many of us are given words of inspiration throughout our day or during the course of the night, and we wake up hearing that thing, but we never write that thing down. Or we may be driving down the street and have an idea, and then we just say, I'll remember it, and when it comes time to recall it, you can't bring it down. So I recommend that everybody carry a little tablet with them that they can write on, or maybe somewhere in your phone where you can take brief notes as the Source speaks to you throughout the day. And then at night, next to your bed, before you go to bed at night, dump all the things that's in your head, problems that you're still trying to solve, solutions that you're looking for. Write them on the tablet. And then you can go to sleep without anything on your mind. You can go into zero frequency a lot easier. So when you get into zero frequency, you drift off into that dream state. All the answers that you're looking for, all the solutions that you need come to you. So I want to say this morning. Getting the vision is key. But whose vision are you getting? I want to close with this. In John chapter 5, verse 19, we hear or see here Jesus saying, the Son can do nothing by himself. And you should say that, I can do nothing, no thing by myself. He can only do that which he sees. And you can say, I can only do that which I see. And it says, he can only do that which he sees. Meaning, God is always, Source is always showing you something. The Father doing. He can only do what he sees the Father doing. He can say, see what the Father has done or did is very present and future tense, what he's doing right here, right now. So you're listening, and you're looking to see what God is doing, just like Jesus. Because whatever he sees the Father doing, the Son does also. And so that's what I want you to know, that you should only be doing what you see God doing. And if you're not seeing what God is doing, then you need to get to the place of zero frequency, and you need to say to yourself or to Source that not my will, but thy will be done. So vision is a very dangerous thing, because you can run through life with double vision, a desire to do the thing that God would have you do, but finding yourself doing only the thing that you are resolved to do. So ask yourself today, have I been seeking after Source's vision for me? And when he gives me a vision, he gives me not only gives me, he will revise it as necessary, he'll give me the resources for his vision. Or I've been doing my own thing, making my own way, and you're tired. You're spent. And there's no fruit in that thing. So that's all I have for you this morning. Why don't you bow your heads with me right here, right now. As we move into this year, as we go into the unknown, let us move in with this meditation. So right where you are, just take a deep breath in, breathing in deeply through your nostrils. Expanding your lungs to full capacity and holding that breath for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhaling through your mouth, releasing, relaxing. And as you come to the bottom of that breath, just put a soft smile on your face, knowing that all is well. And let's move into the next breath together, breathing in deeply through our nostrils, holding that breath as we fill up our diaphragm, expand our lungs to full capacity, allowing the breath of life to touch every cell, every system, every organ, the entirety of who you are and what you represent. And if there's any sickness, disease in your body, whatever organ has been afflicted, right now through the breath of life, it brings back life. Now exhale, releasing all the toxins and the things that no longer serve you. and moving into the next space, and we take this into the meditation. That right here, right now, where we are, Source is, that there's a power greater than us that has created all that we see, all that we experience, that same power that created this thing called the world is the same power that resides in me. Not with the same level of intensity, but a spark of divinity that resides in me. And I understand and know that I can use this power that resides in me, that gives me the ability to do more than is humanly possible, more than mere men can do, but gives me the ability to align with the oneness of being that I can say, I and the Father, I and Source are one. I do what I see Source doing, and Source gives me the resources to do that. I do only what I see Source do because I and Source are one. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you for that message, Ausar, and an excellent meditation. That for this year, we need to make sure we have the vision of God and know our vision that He has for us. That our vision, first our vision, then we listen, then we have direction, and then we take action. Excellent for that message. So our next order of service that we will have for our final section, we will have our offering by Dr. Howard Benson. We will have another music selection, our doxology, led by Peter and Cheryl. And we will have our closing by Reverend Tupe, and we will have our video at the end. Thank you for tuning in for our New Year service, and we'll be glad to see you next week.
It is a wonderful thing to be a part of this church. It is truly unique. Okay, I want you to think for a minute. I want you to think about all the things that you support, that you don't have a choice whether you support. Yeah, think about taxes. Think about local taxes and state taxes and federal taxes, FICA, unemployment insurance, and workman's. There are all these things that we are obligated to be a part of because it is perceived to be good for society as a whole. But isn't it joyous for you to be able to decide what you want to direct your money to, what you want to support, what you want to help grow and prosper? And you always have the opportunity to do that. It's called giving. So if you're loving on the Center for Divine Love, then send some money. And you can do that by going to our website. There's a giving page there. And that website is centerfordivinelove.org. Spell it out. Centerfordivinelove.org. Or you could mail to our physical facility. We have a very beautiful one. It's 3617 Wyoming Street. 3617, spelled just like the state, Wyoming Street, St. Louis, Missouri, 63130. Yes, you must participate with others to support things that are tax-funded, like public schools. But it's an even more joyous thing to be able to make a conscious decision where to direct your money, where to have your money work for what you value. Thank you.
Oh, the Bible says, and it still is new, so I'm a man
Papa made God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. So the strong get more, and the weak ones fail. If your pockets are tight, you never make a grade. Mama may have, and Papa may have. God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Oh, mommy, you got lots of friends crowding around your door. But when the money's gone and all the spending is, they don't come around. Relations will kill, crush the bread and stuff. Go on and help yourself. Don't take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have. God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. But when the money's gone and all the spending, they don't come around. It's a race of the world, but the bread and stuff. Go on and help yourself, but don't take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have. Bless the child that's got his own. Oh, God bless the child that's got his own. God bless the child. That's got his own. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I'll give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
us everything we need. Everything you need. You just have to have the right vision